Hi, class. This is Dr. Weaver, and I am coming to you to discuss with you some information that you will find very helpful for nursing 341 complex health in nursing. All right. Um, One of the reasons why I have decided to do this, as far as the video, as opposed to coming to your class and talking to you about this information, is that I feel like I can really give you the details that you need, and you can always refer back to it if need be. And of course, I do not want to have this big discussion about this on the first day of class because we don't have a whole lot of time in these semesters. I mean, as you guys know, these semesters are 8 weeks long, and there's quite a bit of material to cover, and therefore I want to be as efficient as I can possibly be so that we can spend more time on the meat and potatoes of this information. All right. Um, let's see. All right. So what I want to go ahead and do is first start off by sharing my desktop with you. And we can begin from there, kind of jump right in, right? All right. So before I actually get into this orientation, I need you guys to know that you need to make sure you have your textbooks. The textbook for Lewis, and also Davis Drug Guide, as well as your ATI supplemental book. Now, despite of what you may have been told in the past, the ATI supplemental book is just that. It is a supplement. It is a supplement to your textbook. All right. You cannot be successful in this class if you rely solely on the ATI supplemental book. You have to read also the textbook for this class. And I know many of you might say, or some of you might say, I should say, that reading is just not your forte. You just find it hard to comprehend, and you have to read it 100 times before you really get it. And the excuses runs the gamut. All right. Um, what? So let me say that I was not always a reader either. All right. In primary and secondary school, I was not a reader. I could read, but I didn't comprehend. And that's many times that's the problem. You have to be able to read with comprehension. All right. I want students to get away from memorization. There's some things you do have to memorize, but by and large, you should be comprehending this information, because then and only then will your critical thinking improve. You'll be able to make those connections where they should be made. All right. Now, I typically prefer the ebook because you can it's easier to do searches and find the information you need. I'm not sure what book that most of you have, but if you can get the ebook, that would be much better, at least from my point of view, because I think the search feature is really great. All right. Um, so please make sure you do that. Reading is so important, right? I told you that reading helps to improve your critical thinking. If you, there was a study, I should say, that was done about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, where even nursing students who had graduated, who had passed NCLEX, they discovered that only 23% of those nurses were able to think critically. All right. Fast forward to about maybe a year or so ago, that has dropped to about 9%. All right. So that's a problem. Truly, that's a problem. And so we need to get away from that. And you need to crack those books open and spend that quality time with the reading. I read every time I got a chance. I don't care if I went to the gym, to the bathroom, to an appointment. I don't care. I make sure I read. All right. If you think about reading and some of its benefits, I'll list a few of them for you. It exercises the brain, right? It helps to build endurance, especially if you're sitting down taking long tests. It will help you to endure longer. Sometimes when we take a test for too long, we get fatigued, right? We get tired, and then we start getting sloppy and making all sorts of mistakes. So it can help prevent that. It's also a free form of entertainment. All right. Hopefully, these nursing books will provide you with a with a certain amount of entertainment. It certainly does improve your concentration and your ability to focus. And obviously, you need that in nursing, especially in terms of when everything is going crazy around you, especially when you're out there on the floors. It will help to improve that concentration. Even when you're in class and you're taking your assessments, it helps to improve that concentration, your ability to focus on the task at hand, if you will. It does improve literacy. All right, very helpful. You need to be quite literate. You all will be taking care of patients, and you have their lives in your hand, and you have to be literate enough to read doctor's orders and interpret them. It does also improve sleep. You know how important sleep is. It increases general knowledge, which you not only gives you general knowledge, but also a more specific and detailed knowledge. Things that as instructors, we may not have the time to go over. All right. We can't hit every single point. The information is just too much. And so your reading will help to improve your knowledge base. It is motivational, of course, and it also helps to reduce stress. So those are some very important points to consider as we talk about the importance of reading. I really shouldn't have to be talking about reading at this point. Your third level students getting ready to go to become a fourth level student, and so you guys should know these things. All right, and if you don't, now you do. Or if you didn't, now you do. So please don't neglect doing what is important. All right, you want to keep your license as long as possible. Um, a few other things. Well, yeah, a few other things I wanted to mention before we also delve into the discussion here. One of my biggest pet peeves in classrooms is sidebar conversations. All right. Um, so I only have about a little over 2 hours and maybe 30 minutes with you all, 2 days a week. Well, on what each day, of course, that we meet, just a little more than 2 hours and 30 minutes. That's not a whole lot of time, especially considering all the information that we have to go over. I find that there are times when I'm trying to get us started again. Say if we're coming, either the classes are starting or perhaps we're coming back from break. So I kind of give the alert that, all right, let's go ahead and get started. But then you have these people who they were having this conversation and it's like they're saying, I'm going to finish this conversation. You just need to wait. It's like they're kind of saying that to me. Very disrespectful. And it's not very respectful of your classmates. No one has come to a class to listen to anything you have to say, especially when it's not regarding the lesson at hand. And if it is regarding the lesson at hand, then you need to stand up and let the class know what we're discussing or what you're discussing, right? So give me and your classmates the respect that they pay a lot of money and they want an education. And so as soon as I'm telling the class that you need to shut down whatever you're doing, that is when it's time to shut it down, and you can continue that conversation outside the classroom. And so you got about what more than 21 hours almost 22 hours to continue that conversation. Not in my class, outside the class. And I would appreciate that. Um, Now, I do expect for you to be on time. I do not like when the class has started and people are just trickling in the classroom, walking across the room to their seats, and it's just very distracting to other students. And so you need to be on time. You cannot miss more than 2 consecutive days as far as class is concerned. So make sure you are in class. There's a lot of information that is being given out. And if you're not there, then you're going to miss out. All right. I do not tolerate bullying of other students or students bullying one another or others, if you will. I do not tolerate disrespect for one another. We have to be professional towards one another. We have to use tact. We have to speak to each other the right way. All right. And so um, we must respect each other. That goes both ways, from instructor to student, from student to instructor. You guys are grown-ups, you're not children, and so I do not expect to treat you like children, right? So let's make sure we keep our feet while we're in class. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the syllabus. This is my bio here. I do have a mobile number, but this number is not to be used unless there's an urgent or emergent issue. I prefer emails instead, so make sure you adhere to that. When I say urgent and emergent, I know that could possibly be considered a relative phrase or statement. Use your judgment. You should know what is considered urgent and emergent. Well, even if you say that I can't come to class because my child is sick or you're sick, you need to go ahead and send me an email for that. But I shouldn't really be receiving text messages that much. You'd be surprised what I receive text messages about. Anyway, this is my email, right? And you should be able to locate that fairly easily. As far as course information, this is this is course number NR 341, Complex Adult Health. It is 4 credit hours, 3 for theory and 1 for clinical. And by the way, I'm going to try to finish this in about an hour. If I finish it in about an hour, trust me, it would be better than us trying to do it in 3 hours, because that's just about how long this would typically take. So I'm trying to give you all the abbreviated version so you're not sitting here so long or sitting in class so long. And remember, say if I get this in about an hour or hopefully less, you guys can listen to about maybe 20, 30 minutes of it. I drop it, go do something else, and then come back to it. So I'm not expecting for you, even with the voiceovers that I create, I don't mean for you if the voiceover is 3 hours, if it's that long, I don't expect for you to sit there for an entire 3 hours. Maybe listen for 45 minutes, get up, move around, go wash some clothes, go wash some dishes, cook, go grocery shopping, whatever, but kind of, in other words, get it in bits and pieces, right? It's better anyway. It's more palatable. You can understand the material a whole lot better. You're not bombarded. All right. All right. Let's see. You can see your year 3 students. This is the second semester of year 3. So you're getting really close. Make sure you read your course description here, right? As far as textbooks and resources, you really want to get this APA manual here, because you do have an RUA paper to do. And those of you who plan on going on to graduate school, this textbook here will serve you well. All right, so make sure you purchase this book. If you don't purchase it for this term, at least you can pull up the aisle at Purdue. And they have a sample APA paper that you can look at, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the days to come. You do need Lewis, preferably electronic, but otherwise you just need Lewis. You don't really need the study guide, unless you want to get the study guide, unless it comes with it. That's up to you. Davis Drug Guide is very important because we do discuss a number of medications. that you need to know, at least mechanism of action, side effects, nursing responsibilities, contraindications, and so forth. So make sure you have your textbooks. Let's see, this is your Chamberlain policies here. So make sure you take a look at that. I'm not sure if I put this in here, but there are 3 documents you have to acknowledge. There's the clinical behaviors document that you have to sign a document and upload it. There's the attestation that you have to make sure you check off. I think it's a check off. And then I think there's a classroom behavior document that you have to read and upload as well. So just so you know, when that paperwork is not done, I do not grade papers. All right. So instant replay. Let me say that again. If those documents are not signed, right, I do not grade papers. So I do not want to be searching for students, hunting them down, begging them to get these documents signed. But you just won't have your papers graded. So please go ahead and do that as soon as possible. Actually, by the first day, or perhaps even on break week, if you have time to do it, you should do that ASAP. All right. Read the Chamberlain policies, of course, especially understand your student handbook. As far as last day of instruction, so in the 8th week, that Saturday is the actual last day of instruction, which we should have most things done by that time. Here is the course technologies section here. I do use Respondus lockdown browser. Make sure yours is updated, right? Some students do use Turnitin. I don't require it, but it might be useful if you don't want to. You want to make sure you're staying away from plagiarism. And of course, you have access to Office 365 and some other writing tools. We will be using EDAPT for the first time for NR 341. You guys are the first, right? All right. There's also clinical learning. Make sure you take a look at this section as well. There's a clinical learning link that you guys will have to upload your clinical documents, and we'll talk about that a little later as well. These are the program outcomes, so take a look at this information when you get a chance. This is the course outcomes. One in particular stands out for me, and that is provide patient and family-centered nursing care to adults with complex health needs using theories and principles of nursing and related disciplines. And that is what this course is by and large all about. This critical care course that providing that complex health care for your patients. And believe me, we do dig deep. All right, so get ready to dig deeper. We will not be scratching the surface. We will go deep. All right. Usually I show myself on these voiceovers, but I'm thinking it might be messing up my the visual part of this presentation. So I left it off this time. So hopefully this one comes out the way I want it to. Take a look at the clinical learning competencies here. This is related more so to clinical. Well, while I'm more or less at it. So as I mentioned to you earlier, each of you will be going to clinical at least 4 times this term. The first 3 times will be at the hospital. The 4th time would be SIM, which even though we're there for 6 hours, we get 2 credit hour, 2 hours per hour that we are on campus per State Board of Nursing. The first clinical experience for you for this class, you're going to do the level 3 documentation on 1 patient. No reflection is needed, just that documentation. I'm not saying the whole thing needs to be filled out because it is a 10-page document, but wherever it is applicable, you will be doing that level 3 documentation. All right. Now, subsequent clinical visits, in other words, your second and third visit, you will be doing a reflection of that day, and you'll also be doing um, um, a SOAPy note. And I'll show you what that looks like once I progress further in this discussion. Um, let's see. And now for sim, you will only do, well, you have to do the prep work for the sim, but you don't really have to turn that in. But you do have to do a reflection for that day. All right. So um, now, whenever you go to clinical, 4 days later after you go to clinical, is when your clinical work is due. So let's say if you go on a Monday. Actually, I'm sorry, it's about roughly, well, it depends on if you count that day, but if you go to clinical on a Monday, then the paperwork is due on that Thursday before midnight. If you go on Wednesday, it is due on that Sunday before midnight. If you go on a Friday, well, actually, you guys are going on a Saturday, so it would be due. Should be due that Wednesday, Wednesday before midnight. Yeah, about that Wednesday before midnight, roughly about four days later. All right. Remember, if you do not turn in your clinical paperwork, you can fail or you will fail the clinical part of this course. So don't think you can blow that off. All right. So again, that's the clinical learning competencies. I told you already about the student attestation. The other ones, let's see. So you have the student commitment to clinical behaviors and the student expectations documents. All of those need to be signed before the first day is over. Um, and again, if you do not, I don't grade papers. So make sure you get that done. This is the assignment summary, and you can look at this by the various weeks when these things are due. All right. So you will have your drug calculation exam on the first day of class, and you have to have a 19 out of 20. You should be doing the pre-test before you take this main assessment here on that Tuesday of 7/5. So make sure you do some practice work over the break. I know that may not sound so nice for someone to say do something over break week, but honestly, people, um, I'm not saying that you have to have this intensity in terms of studying during that week. It should be more leisure. It should be picking up the book from time to time and doing some reviews of the material, which of course, I recommend reading chapter 65, critical care. I recommend you reading that before you come back to class. And again, if you divide those pages up, it's like maybe 5 pages a day. All right, that doesn't bombard you too much or overwhelm you as much. And then I'll clear up many of the I'll clear up things once you come to class when we have our discussion. All right. As far as the RUA paper is concerned, it is due in the 6th week, but I need you to send me or let me know what you're going to write on. It should be on a technology that is used solely in the critical care unit. I'm saying it like that because some people will, let's say, they might write on a chest tube, or they might write on an Alaris pump, the IV pumps, or on the electronic medical record system. Even though those items are used in the ICU, but they're not solely for the ICU. When I say tools used in the ICU, we're talking about things like Swan-Ganz catheters and arterial lines, impeller devices, ECMO, balloon pumps, those sort of things. There are others, but it has to be specific for the ICU. Even the prone bed, rotating bed, is used solely in the ICU for the most part, because we prone patients when they have acute respiratory distress syndrome. All right. So make sure you let me know. And I will be sending you a template for the paper. That way it'll help get you started at least. And we'll talk more about that later. As I mentioned to you, EDAP does start in this term. This is one of the EDAP assignments here. These assignments are due before midnight that Sunday for that week. So this being in the first week, it will be due that Sunday, right before midnight, and it's worth 28 points. So you'll see the different assignments here. You have ATI assignments, you have your EDAP assignments, you have your papers, you have your 2 exams, your 5 quizzes. That's just to kind of give you kind of an overview of what to expect. This is another one, complex oxygenation alterations. It's 32 points for that one. So they are threaded throughout the course. So just take a look at this, this information, right? Take a look at this information. Provides a nice summary. There's one of the ATI assignments here, right? You still have the ATI practice A. B is proctored on campus, and of course the proctored CMS is done on campus as well. All right, and you do not want to take those assessments lightly, because what those assessments do is, when you do them honestly and you're not Googling them, the information, it tells us where you are, where your weaknesses are. Because when you know you're weak, you know what to work on. If you don't know your weaknesses, then you don't know what to work on. And so you may carry that weakness into your exit exam as well as NCLEX, and it could adversely impact you. You may not be able to get that license. And you guys want to be one-time license takers. All right, that's what I would want to be. So I would imagine with this financial sacrifice you're making, it should be the same for you. You do have 2 exams, as I mentioned, and there's 70 questions apiece, by the way. Your quizzes are 20 questions apiece. All right. All right. So this is the RUA, and again, we'll discuss more of that. I do have some additional information to give you along with the template. It'll be towards the bottom of the template that I give you. Just some tips, things to consider as you write your paper. All right, so of course you have the attendance policy. You cannot miss more than 2 days consecutively of a theory, a class. And of course, you cannot miss a clinical. If you do, it has to be extenuating circumstances in order for you to be able to make up that time. So please make sure you do everything possible to be at clinical on time. We have to be at clinical at 6:30 in the morning, all right? And we have a 12-hour day. So make sure you are on time, all right? Because these instructors will send you home. All right. These are the evaluation methods that we use. These are the core assignments here. So just take a look at that. I won't go through all of them, but just take a look at it. For example, quizzes 5 at 20 points apiece, which comes out to be 100 points or 10% of your grade. So make sure you take a look at that, knowing what you'll be evaluated on and the points assessed. This community cafe here, I unpublished this. This is something I believe you all probably know more about it than I do, but my understanding is they use it to have discussions about whatever the EDAPT assignments are about. So, but I took that away. Unless you guys want me to publish it again, I'll do that, but just let me know. And then you have your supplemental assignments. So make sure you take a look at that. Remember, you have to have at least minimum 76 core in order to have the supplemental points added to it. All right. These are all of your ATI assignments here. Your RUA paper here, of course, that's 10% of your grade. And your practice A and B, they're not worth anything, but yet they are. They provide invaluable information in terms of where your weaknesses are and what you need to work on. By the way, as far as the binder, the remediation binders are concerned, you only have that for practice B, but not for the proctor test at the end. All right. That's a new change this term, in addition to EDAPT being added. And this is, of course, the letter grade system, the point ranges and the percentage ranges as well. This is something that I'm assuming is pretty similar to all other courses, so just take a look at it. As we continue to scroll on down, these are the assignments. We have assignments, we have case studies, obviously discussions. The experiential learning is mostly your clinical that you will go to. I do lecture too. I do a combination of lectures and case studies. There's some things I do more lectures because I don't find that some of the case studies are all that great. But then again, there are some case studies that are really great. And then so I will inform you what we're doing before each class. And let me say this to you. So I have a bit of a different approach. Let's say if you have 5 topics in a week that we have to go through. I would tell you that it is impossible to get through 5 complex topics in 1 week. So what I tend to do is I look at the more complex topics. Let's say, for example, dysrhythmias or heart failure or burns or something like that. Those are the topics I would discuss in class, and I do them one at a time on each day because I don't want to rush through the information. What I want to do is take my time with it, go through it with you, model for you how you should be approaching the information. All right. And because I want you to take my approach and apply it to other topics. Right. Now, I'm not leaving you hanging. It's just that the other topics that we do not get to discuss, I've created voiceovers for. They're PowerPoints that contains the information, which I'll show you that as well. But they're PowerPoints that contains information in the notes regarding the assessments or the test that you'll be taking, or it's sufficient for the for that. So that's pretty much my method. I use a combination of case studies, lectures on mostly one topic for that day, and voiceovers. All right, so keep that in mind. Let's see. I think you guys will appreciate that because I'm not standing up there and sounding like a machine gun, just rattling off stuff, and you're thinking to yourself, I don't understand anything he just said. Let me tell you something. This method, by me taking my time, students can still struggle even with it, especially if you didn't do pre-readings and what have you. You can still struggle with it. So imagine if I get up there and try to squeeze 5 topics into 1 week, right? You will really be confused. And so, I just try to consider the state of mind that students, as a student state of mind. You're not as adapt to this information as someone who's done it for years. All right, so just trying to be considerate. This is the disabilities accommodations section. If you have if you need accommodations rather, please send that to me via email in the form of an attachment so we can make sure you. I know if you have already done this, ATI already has it squared away for you as far as a time on your test. And now the quizzes. Not so much. I have to know that you need accommodation so that I can add the time. I have to manually do that. All right. Let's see. Oh, let me say this to you all. So we have quizzes. Quizzes will be open on Thursday morning about 6. And it will close at midnight on Friday. right? You don't have to be in class, but you will be on lockdown. Yeah, the lockdown, the responders. I do check the video, so please don't think that we don't. Now, I want to be clear about this. I just gave you the time frame, 6 in the morning on Thursday until midnight on Friday. If you miss that window, I will not reopen it for you unless you have an extenuating circumstance. You sick, child sick, house burned down, death in the family. I mean, it has to be an extenuating circumstance. You can't say, well, I got so busy with my personal life and then I just forgot all about it. That is such a poor excuse. Get you a calendar. Let me put it to you this way. Um, quizzes 1 through 4 are going to be in weeks 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? Because you have 5 quizzes. So in other words, so we have our discussion for the week, and then the following Thursday, Friday, you have quiz 1, right? So that quiz 1 is given in week 2. And then whatever we discuss in week 2, that quiz information that quiz will be given in week 3. So we always try to have sufficient discussion, and then you have enough time to take your quiz the following week. And that's how we do that. Now, when we get to quiz 5, I typically give that one around week 7, and that's because we haven't discussed all of the information. All right. And sometimes I'm a little more lenient on when the quiz has to be done, depending on what kind of assessments we have for that week. So I may extend it for an additional day. So, but please do not go over that time. Also, exams will be given to everyone at the same time. All right. Accommodations, folks, you will go downstairs and be proctored. And I'm saying that because some people come up to you and say, well, I scheduled myself for a vacation and I would like to take the test a day early and so forth. We don't have those kind of resources here. All right. So you take the test with everyone. Please do not, some people, I'm getting married, and I would like to take the test early. No, 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 no. You need to wait and take the test with everyone else. Please do not make an uncomfortable situation asking me, can you test early if the situation is not extenuating? All right. Thank you in advance. Let's see. We talked about that. Again, as far as RUA papers, make sure you let me know what your topics are. Don't just willy-nilly just do whatever. You need to let me know. All right. Talked about all that. I kind of worked ahead. You guys do know that we have 1,000 points total for your as far as the point methods of evaluation. There's 1,000 points total. Let's see. Got all that. All right. So let me go ahead and share my desktop as far as the announcements. I don't necessarily do weekly announcements, but you do have quite a few announcements here already. And so you really need to make sure that you're reading these announcements. My primary method of communication is email, actually email and announcements. So you do need to be checking your email rather frequently, maybe once in the morning and once in the evening, late evening, preferably. Again, it is my main method of communication with you. All right. So make sure you do that. As far as the announcements are concerned, we talk sometimes about the weekly assignments. There's information about workshops that you will be doing with Professor Palomino. She has some great workshops. The workshops are to help bridge the theory to practice or the hands-on piece of it, help you to be more comfortable. She has all sorts of devices in there, and she also has a website to help you with some of your assignments as well. So make sure you guys attend the workshops. Allocate some time for that. I also mentioned information about your RUA paper in the announcements. There's information about the medication calculation. There's like a couple of announcements for that. You also, there's an announcement about the NGN items for the NCLEX. And so make sure you take a look at that as well. And what that essentially is saying is ATI has added some NGN items for your assignment so that get you more acclimated to that style of testing. And also there's information about the ATI assignments. I do need to give you the product code, and I will be uploading that as well. So make sure you take a look at that, because that is the code that you will use to complete your ATI assignments. Now let me say this. I'm going to highlight this, what I'm getting ready to talk about next. I'm getting ready to talk about modules. So you really need to pay attention to this piece as well. There's a lot of students, or there's a few, I should say, seem to miss this part. So when you go into modules, as you can see, well, some of this will look different for you, but because this is for me, faculty resources. But as you know, you have your introduction section, I believe, on your part. And of course, they do it by weeks. So week 1, all the way down to, I know I'm going a little fast, but all the way down to week 8, this is all what National has put in the system, right? Now, I added my own modules, but it's more further towards the bottom. So if you keep going, right, you see here where it says instructor modules, right? And this is the course schedule here that we will go through quickly. In fact, let me see if I can possibly, well, let me kind of keep going just for a moment. All right, so you have week 1 here. This is what I was trying to explain to you all. Now, you look at this and you say, well, that is too much to go through. Well, actually, it's just kind of double. For example, you look at pain management here. This is because this is a PowerPoint, and I should designate it as such. But this is a PowerPoint on pain management. You guys have had this information on pain management, so it should just be a review. Quite a bit of the information for the first week is a review, except for the critical care. So there's pain management there, but PowerPoints, but these are the pain management voiceovers. Same information, but I'm just talking to you. Look at the end of life here, and this is the end of life voiceover. So they just double. So it might be 6 or 7, distinct links here. All right, as far as what is it? Now the general anesthesia, that's just a PowerPoint. But again, well, look at death and let's see, death and dying. I thought there was a PowerPoint for that one as well. That one might be the palliative and end of life. It's not labeled the same, but I believe that is what that one is speaking to. I'll go ahead and double check that one though. So what happens is, this is what you want to do to stay ahead. You need to know this information here, right? You'll be doing the pain management on your own, as well as, and the end of life, death and dying, general anesthesia. You'll be doing that pretty much on your own, because I provided the information, because what we are going to be focused on by and large is the critical care. And there's a critical care voiceover as well. So if you want to listen to it before class, that's fine. I would recommend you do the reading. There's like 30 pages. That's really the longest pages that you have to really read. A lot of the other ones are like maybe 1 page, 2 pages, maybe 3 or 4 pages. So it's not as long, and I'll show you what I mean by that as well. So this is week 1 material, and then we would test in week 2 on Thursday, Friday. And then it gets shorter, of course, or somewhat. But this is week 2's information, and then we'll have the quiz in week 3. So that's the pattern or the flow of it. All right. Now, some of these, for example, you see this one here, the rapid response and cold management PowerPoints. So they're long, right? And so I can get up to roughly about slide 41, and the rest of that PowerPoint is from slide 41 onward. I think it might be 70 something slides altogether. So some of them are a combination of part a lecture and the rest is in the voiceover. So you're not left hanging, I promise you. All right, and so forth and so on. And this is a week 3 PowerPoints and voiceovers, a week 4. All right, week 5, week 6, and week 7. All right, again, combination of PowerPoints and voiceovers. All right, now what is important about this, and let me see if I can show you this. All right, let's say, for example, you want to read about, or you want to get into the discussion about heart failure. You click on heart failure, and I have these uploaded in Google Slide. So you click on this. You can't make any alterations, but you can download it into a regular PowerPoint. For example, if you go here to File and scroll down to download and slide over here and click on PowerPoint, then it will download this, as you can see up here. I don't know if you can see this, but it'll download this into a PowerPoint presentation that you can put information in the notes section as well. Now, here's the notes section. Well, let me say this. You see these 3 ellipses right here? They're kind of small, but right here, right? If you place your cursor on it and you left click and hold it, you can pull it down and you can pull it up. You control what you see in the notes section. So what you want to do is pull it up. This is the notes section, because if you keep scrolling down to each slide, you'll begin to see, it's not moving. Oh, there it is. You'll begin to see where I've added notes. You see these notes here? These are the notes that I've added. All right. So these are the notes. You're not just reading the information on the slide itself, but they're corresponding notes here, right? And so forth and so on. Some are a little longer than others. Let me say this to you guys also. Some of my PowerPoints, there's a few of them that were taken from another textbook called Ignatius. I did that because I did not have enough time to use Lewis to create the PowerPoints, but the information is essentially the same. Just make sure you are referring to the tables and charts. Anytime an instructor, or not an instructor, an author takes the time and puts something in a table or chart, you need to make sure you take a look at it, because there's some significance to that. They did that for a reason. So anyway, just make sure you are using your textbook still, because this does correspond very well with the information you have in your textbook, which is Lewis, but the information is still good. So that's how you would locate the information here in the notes section of the PowerPoints. And again, as I said, you can download it into a PowerPoint, and then you can put in your own notes. It won't look like this, though. It won't look like this. So, but some of you may be pretty savvy. Actually, what you can do, you can download the PowerPoints, and then you can create a Google Slide. It's free. Create a Google Slide account, and then you can put in your notes like this, because you have better control over the fonts, the colors, and however way you want to doctor up the PowerPoint to make it yours, in other words. All right, let's see. So that's how you get to that information. All right, so you want to make sure you're reviewing that weekly material. And if I were you, over the break even, I would make sure that maybe you look at your pay management, your end of life. There's a document in there about, DNRs, advanced directives, and all that. I would probably go ahead and look at that information, or I really mainly want you to look at chapter 65. Just try to read through it as much as possible. All right, just get really familiar with it. And of course, it would be it will be a whole lot better for you once you come to class, because what I'm going to do in class is elucidate. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to make it clear for you. That's what that's all about, for me to do that for you. Let's see. Now, let's go back to, all right, so we're still in the Canvas environment. What I want you to do also is to click on Files when you get a chance. And in this section, I have the parking passes for your clinical sites, for example, Baptist Downtown, as well as Baptist South, and also Baptist Beaches. We have maps, just in case you don't know where you're going, and you should do a dry run a few days or day before, so you know where you're going, so you're not late to a clinical. We also have the course schedule, and I wanted to show you that. You have the course schedule and the clinical schedule, right? Let's see. I don't know if I have this the right way yet. Well, this is the level 3. I think, yeah, this is the level 3 documentation here. Hopefully you can see this. I don't have to reshare it. Let this open up. I'll see if I can print a lot of this for you so that, you know, or maybe you can go to the student learning services or whatever they call it. But this is the level 3 document here. And just fill it out as much as you can. Remember, it's for the first clinical day that you're in clinical, no reflection, no SOAPy, just this. On those subsequent days, you need to do a SOAPy note and the reflection. All right, so that's what this document is. Now, this is an example. Well, these are the guidelines for the SOAPy notes. So click on that in Files. Taking a little time to open up. While this is trying to figure it out, make sure when you guys do your reflection, it should be at least 3/4 of the page double spaced. All right, at least 3/4 of the page double spaced. All right, I don't want a couple of lines, but it should be about 3/4 of the page. These are the SOAPy guidelines. You have to have a subjective, objective, assessment, planning, and evaluation. Right? Remember, whatever you incorporate, whatever you do to intervene or the interventions that you perform, you need to evaluate the nursing process, right? Part of the nursing process. Now, this is an actual example of a SOAPy note. So your note should look like this. And you need to be uploading this information each week that you go to clinical. Now, I want you to do this for me. The days you guys do not go to clinical for that week, just go in and put a note in for me that says no clinical. And that way I can go ahead and excuse you for those days. So this is an example of a SOAPy note. So it should look just like that. All right. That's that one. I want to show you the I don't think I have this the way I want it. Let me back here. So I may not have uploaded the clinical schedule. I thought I did. Let's see, what is this? Oh, let me show you this too. This is a handoff report that I used to use at Mayo Hospital for the ICU. You don't have to upload this, but it helps you to keep yourself straight. You can print this, and whatever patient you're taking care of that day, you can fill in this information and then transcribe it over to the document you're going to turn in. Now, one piece of advice I give students is if you're going to do the level 3 documentation, I would try to fill it out legibly while you're on site, and that way all you have to do is upload it like that instead of doing double work. That's the way I would do it. But with this document here, it's uses SBAR, and so just look at the different sections here where you have to fill out information for your patient. It provides a whole systems assessment. That's what that is. What else? So let me show you what I may have to reshare this again. So let me stop sharing for a minute. All right, I'm at 55 minutes. I need to hurry up because I really don't want this to be too much more than an hour, if an hour. All right, so let me go ahead and share this again. All right, this is for the most part done. I just need to fill in who the other instructor would be. Let me go ahead and increase the size of this so you can see it better. I want you guys to make sure you read this section. Some of this may have to be altered, but for the most part, you need to make sure you read this section and adhere to these guidelines. It does address uniform, proper uniform, and what have you. I don't want any special caps, right? Unless you wear, maybe you're religious, as far as Jewish, and what do they call it? The hamaka. I have to look that up. I think that's what it is. Something like that could be acceptable, but you're not going to come to clinical wearing a scrub cap. Now, if you're going in the room helping or assisting with a procedure, that's fine, but you have to take it off. These are the places you're going. These are the sections, the CRN numbers, the sections. This is me here, of course. You're going to clinical on Mondays at South, and weeks 2, 3, and 6 on site, and week 4 you have your sim here. This is the date. This is the time, and obviously your name's over here. So just make sure you all take a look at this in preview week so you can figure out where you are. This is me also. I'm going to do 2 clinical, one downtown and one on the south side, or Baptist South rather. Again, weeks 1, 2, and 3 on site, and week 6 a sim. The reason why we're having to do them back to back, week 1 through 3, is because Baptist is implementing EPIC, and therefore they don't want students around. And so they're allowing us to come in 3 days, well, it's 3 days in a row, 3 days per week instead of every other week. You'll be doing it 3 days, week 1, 2, and 3. Right? I know that's a bit different than what you're used to, but we have to get through it. And again, you have to be there at 6:30 in the morning. All right. This is Professor McHugh. She's doing Saturdays at Baptist Beaches. She only has 2 people, so I'm not sure if it's because people signed up based on how close they live to some of these facilities. And of course, the last one is, well, I have it pending because I don't know the professor's name. And Dean Newberry's on vacation. She said there is someone, but I don't know who it is. So we'll be filling that information out. And this is when you go to clinical as well as your sim. Your sim is in the 6th week. And these are the names. I just used the last names here. This is your section. So you'll be taking a look at that. Let's see, what else do I have? I talked about the lockdown browser. You'll be doing that with your quizzes. And let me show you this too. If you go into the media gallery, the same voiceovers that you will see in the modules, my instructor modules, well, I don't have it pulled over yet here. But if I go back into one of the other courses, I haven't pulled it over yet, so that's why it's not showing. I didn't realize that. So go to media gallery here. And then these are the voiceovers here, presentations, but they're the same ones in the module, so it's probably better to just go there instead. All right. I believe that is about it, and believe it or not, I kept it at around an hour. It's like 59 minutes and some seconds to spare. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and end it right here, and I'll send you guys an email. Hopefully you will have a look at this information. This needs to be looked at before you come to class. And I do appreciate you giving me your attention to this information, and hopefully you find it helpful. Thank you, and take care, everyone.